Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. The Bold and the Beautiful Wednesday. October 15th recap. Sheila busts Deacon flirting with Taylor. Spies duo's cozy hug. The Bold and the Beautiful B and B recap for Wednesday, October 15th. Reveals that Sheila Sharp Kimberlyn Brown busted Deacon Sharp Sean Kanan. Flirting with Taylor Hayes Rebecca Buddig before spying the duo's cozy hug. At El Giardino, Sheila begged Deacon to come home and wanted to work through their issues together. But Deacon wasn't sure he could get past her secrets regarding Luna Nazawa Lisa Yamada. Closing parenthesis. After Deacon admitted he was seeing someone, Sheila figured out he meant a therapist and wondered who it was. Sheila didn't want Deacon talking to some quack and was pleasantly surprised when he confessed he'd been speaking to Taylor, since Sheila thought Taylor would be helpful. She approved of the doc's involvement, at least at first. Trouble came later, when Sheila eavesdropped outside Taylor's office, where Deacon sought her advice on whether to end his marriage and accept that Sheila couldn't change. Taylor couldn't tell Deacon what to do since it was her job to listen. But she wasn't the Sheila cheerleader that Sheila was probably hoping for. Sheila wasn't pleased over the discussion she listened in on, especially when Deacon showered Taylor with compliments and called her beautiful. The discussion took a flirty turn before Sheila eventually opened the door to peek inside and caught Deacon giving Taylor a grateful hug. At Forrester Creations, some models showed off gowns in the showroom, but Brooke Logan, Catherine Kelly Lang and Rich Forrester, Torsten K felt that Hope Logan Annika Noel needed something fresher and more exciting for her line's relaunch. Hope talked about looking at some designer portfolios and seeing potential, but she was clearly wishing for something that'd really grab her attention. Dick Sharp Harrison Cohn put his own portfolio down outside the showroom door before joining Hope, Ridge and Brooke. After catching up with Brooke and Rich briefly, Dick talked about the timing of his homecoming feeling right since Deacon needed support. Afterward, on Wednesday's B&B episode, Hope was distracted on a phone call in the design office when Dick put his portfolio down next to the sofa. Once Hope disconnected, she had another conversation with Dick about Deacon's marriage problems and the fact that he could do better than Sheila. Back with Brooke and Ridge, they shared some romantic moments before talk turned to Taylor. Brooke was still hopeful about Taylor's bright future and hinted that maybe a new man would enter her life. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers say Taylor and Deacon's connection may deepen in the coming episodes, so stay tuned for updates on any big romantic news. Deacon Sharp thought he was safe. He thought his little moment of charm with Taylor Hayes would go unnoticed. He thought Sheila was too distracted to notice anything beyond her own schemes. He was wrong. The morning at El Giardino began innocently enough. Deacon was wiping down the bar, humming to himself, unusually upbeat for a man living in the shadow of a nine-toed tornado like Sheila Carter. But today, he had motivation. Taylor Hayes had texted, asking if he had time to talk. And if there was one thing Deacon loved more than flirting, it was flirting with a woman way out of his league. Taylor arrived shortly after, breathtaking as ever in her casual elegance. She ordered a cappuccino, flashing that calm, grounding smile of hers, the kind that could make even a proly feel like a gentleman. "You seem lighter today," she observed. "Maybe I am," Deacon replied, leaning casually against the bar. "Maybe it's because a certain world-renowned psychiatrist graced my morning with her presence." Taylor rolled her eyes, but she was smiling, and Deacon saw it. He felt it, a spark. Tiny, but unmistakable. The two settled into a corner table, the kind reserved for private conversations, the kind that made onlookers wonder if something more was happening. And Deacon, he was laying it on thick. He thanked Taylor for being one of the few people who ever believed in him, for never looking at him like trash, for treating him like a man who deserved redemption. Taylor, moved in spite of herself, reached across the table and squeezed his hand. "That's when you saw his opening, you know," he murmured, voice low. "If things were different, if timing were better, you and I would have been dangerous together." Taylor's cheeks flushed. The psychiatrist in her wanted to shut the flirtation down, but the woman in her, she didn't move her hand. And just as the air began to thicken with possibility, the front door opened. And the devil herself stepped inside. Sheila Carter, watching, listening, calculating. Sheila had come to surprise Deacon, perhaps even pick a fight just to feel alive. But what she found instead was her man, the one she clung to, defended, and claimed, all but swooning over another woman, Taylor Hayes, of all people. The same Taylor who had shot her. The same Taylor who Sheila believed had stolen both Ridge and Finn's admiration from her. And now, Deacon. Sheila's nails dug into her palms. Her pupils narrowed like a predator stalking prey. Deacon, oblivious, leaned closer to Taylor. "You ever wonder what life would have been like if we'd taken a shot at something real?" Taylor laughed softly, shaking her head. You're impossible. It's part of my charm, he grinned. And then, it happened. Taylor stood to leave. Deacon followed her toward the exit, insisting on walking her out. At the doorway, Taylor thanked him for listening. Deacon thanked her for caring. And then they hugged, not a polite, distant hug. Not a quick goodbye pat, a close, lingering, full-body hug. The kind that says this is more than friendship. Even if neither of them had admitted it yet, Sheila saw everything. Her head tilted slowly. Her lips curled, not in sadness, not in fear, but in a wicked, knowing smile. Oh, Deacon. She whispered to herself. You really want to play this game? Across town, Rich Forrester was on edge. Steffi had left another cryptic message about changes coming, and Rich didn't like change unless he controlled it. Brooke and Hope had also caught wind of Taylor's meeting with Deacon, and while Hope casually insisted it was probably therapy talk, Brooke's instincts were blaring like sirens. Taylor doesn't just drop by to chat with convicted felons, Brooke muttered. There's a reason. Hope raised an eyebrow. Mom, are you jealous? Brooke scoffed too quickly. Jealous of Taylor? Over Deacon? Absolutely not. But deep down she was. Not romantically, no. Brooke had moved on from Deacon. But she hated the idea of Taylor being painted as a noble healer, while she was cast as a historic temptress. Taylor with Deacon suddenly made her feel replaceable. Hope, meanwhile, had her own concerns. If Taylor, a respected therapist, approved of Deacon enough to hug him in public, what would that mean for people still doubting Deacon's ability to be in her life? Back at Il Giardino, Sheila made her move. She calmly walked up to Deacon as he returned from the doorway, blissfully unaware of the storm brewing inches away. Busy morning? She asked sweetly. Deacon froze. Sheila? Hey, didn't know you were coming. She cocked her head. Clearly, her eyes glittered like broken glass. So, Taylor Hayes, huh? Deacon swallowed. She just stopped by though, I saw. Sheila interrupted, her voice sugar-coated but deadly. I saw everything. Deacon straightened. There's nothing going on. Sheila leaned in, her whisper venomous. There better not be. For a moment, neither spoke. Then Sheila's smile returned, slow and psychotic. But if Taylor wants to play games, she breathed. I can play harder. One hug. Infinite consequences. By noon, the entire restaurant staff knew Sheila had witnessed something she did not approve of. And if Sheila Carter didn't approve, someone was going to pay for it. Deacon, caught between guilt and denial, tried to go back to work, but his hands shook at Taylor in her car. Replayed the hug far too many times. And Sheila already had a plan. Because while the world may see Taylor as a healer, Sheila saw her as a rival who needed to be eliminated, one smile at a time.